tenses, and then the verb has to change like for every subject, like if it's I, you, he, she, is. But yeah, we're gonna see that slowly. Like the more you practice, the more you get used to that. So it's just a matter of time and practice. So don't worry, like you can get it done. And please leave your comments on YouTube or Facebook. Like I'll be watching them. If you have any question about the material we are seeing, like you can leave your question then, and I will be taking a look at your comments so I can give you the answer if I know it. I hope I do. And yeah, so yeah, I see that there's already someone there, like William. Hola. Thank you for joining in. Oh, Chris also is asking if it's... So this lesson, we are going to just focus on the present tense. So on future lessons, like we'll see other tenses. But this one is going to be the present tense because, it's not super straightforward. Like there are some things we need to explain, some differences. There are regular and irregular verbs. So yeah, it takes some time and it's a bit difficult to talk about all the tenses because there are quite a few tenses in Spanish. It's a bit difficult to do that on a single live video. But yeah, so that will be for this week. Yeah, nice to know that Mequias from Brazil, thank you for joining in. Also we have Wing. Sorry if I cannot pronounce your names correctly, but thank you very much for joining in. Summer also. Okay. So, Jay, hola. I hope you're excited about this week's topic. So, yep. Before starting, I would like to invite you to click the link below and you can have access to this month's free gifts. So there are some cheat sheets with like very useful vocabulary, useful phrases that you can use in Spanish, like covering a lot of different topics. Then you can also download the app and have access to a lot of audio and video lessons for free. So because learning a language is something that you need to do like on a daily basis. It's not something you just pick one day of the month and study for a lot of hours and then just leave it there, right? So yeah, instead of while you're waiting for next week live video, you can get all this material and keep studying, keep practicing, keep learning. Yeah, I'm sure you're gonna improve very quickly. And yeah, of course, like the good thing with the app is that you can use it anywhere you go, so you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to, I don't know, like be at home, or you can be on the train, like while going to your work and keep studying. So that's very useful. Okay, we have also Kevin, Faham. Hola, bienvenidos. So we are gonna start with today's lesson. And as I said, we are learning today the present tense. The present tense in Spanish is presente del indicativo. Presente del indicativo. That's the name of the verb tense that we are learning. So if you want to know how to talk about the present in Spanish, which is something that you need to do, like it's very basic, you'll be able to do so to conjugate Spanish verbs in present after this lesson. So yeah, stick around. So the topics that we are gonna cover in this lesson. First, we are gonna learn like when we use this tense. Then we are gonna see the 3 different types of Spanish verbs that we have. And then we are gonna learn how to conjugate the regular verbs and the fact that we have regular verbs means that we also have irregular verbs, which are like the most scary ones, the most difficult ones, but yeah, we can do that. So then after that, we are gonna see some irregular verbs, some examples, and how they are conjugated. And then to end this lesson, we are gonna practice a little bit, which is essential to memorize all these things. So, yeah, Abba's also joining in. Thank you very much. Bienvenidos. So, the first topic of this lesson is going to be when we use this tense in Spanish. And there are 3 cases. So we use the present simple when we talk about something that is generally true. For example, el verano es caluroso. El verano es caluroso. Summer is hot. So that is something that is generally true, like might be different, like some case, but generally that's true, right? So, yeah, we use that. So, the second case in which we use the present tense is when we are talking about something that is true at the moment we are speaking. So, for example, yo vivo en Cuba. Yo vivo en Cuba. I live in Cuba. For example, also we can use that to talk about our age, for example. Tengo 26 años. Tengo 26 años. I'm 26 years old. So that's true now. Like it won't be true next year, but it's true now. So I use also the present simple for that. And the third and last case is when we talk about things that are habits that happens at intervals. So, for example, an example for that would be los domingos voy al parque. Los domingos voy al parque. I go to the park on Sunday. So, yeah, that's something every Sunday that happens. Another example, trabajo de lunes a viernes. Trabajo de lunes a viernes. I work from Monday to Friday, for example. So Eric is like giving us an example for this case. Instead of el verano, he's talking about winter. He's saying, el invierno es frío. El invierno es muy frío. So winter is cold. Yeah, that's a great example. Okay. So, well, William is asking about vos. So we are gonna focus here on like European Spanish, and in European Spanish we don't really use vos, which would be like our tu. So yeah, there are a few differences between Spanish spoken in the different countries. We are gonna center this lesson on European Spanish. Hello, Sławek. I don't know how to pronounce it, from Polonia. From Poland, sorry. Poland in English. Bienvenido. So, we are gonna get into, like, really how we deal with these verbs. So we have 3 types of verbs in Spanish, and they are distinguished by their endings. So we have 3. The ones that end in AR, are. For example, hablar, which means to speak, so it ends in AR. Then we have the verbs that end in ER. For example, comer, which means to eat, so ER. And then the last case is the verbs that end in IR, eat. For example, dormir, dormir, which means to sleep. So we have these three types of verbs. Inside of them, there are some that are regular verbs, and some of them are irregular verbs. So the regular ones follow the same pattern to conjugate. You have to follow the same pattern to conjugate all of them. But in the case of the irregular verbs, they change a little bit. They are a bit special, so you have to kind of memorize them. Tyson, thank you for joining in. Jay, also from Liverpool, thank you. So first we're gonna start with the more simple ones, but very important, because the majority of verbs are regular verbs, so it's very important to really know how to conjugate this. So we are gonna start with the regular verbs. So the most important thing, the main thing to do before starting to conjugate them is identifying the stem of the verb. To identify the stem of the verb, what we have to do is take out the ending, the AR, ER, IR. So for example, in the case of hablar, we take out AR and we have habl. In the case of comer, we take out ER, and we have com. And then in the case of dormir, we take out IR, and we have dorm. And then we need to add to these stems the right ending according to the subject. So according if it's I, you, he, she, and now we're gonna see that. So we're gonna start with the verbs that ends in AR. For example, we have the case of the verb hablar, hablar, to speak. So as we said, the first thing we need to do is take out that AR, and we are left with the stem, which could be habl. And then, depending on the subject, we need to add a different ending. So for I, yo, we have to add o. Yo hablo. Yo hablo. In the case of if the subject is you, we have two forms. If it's the informal one is the most common used one, is tú, and we add as. Tú hablas. Tú hablas. The formal version is usted. Usted. And we add a. Usted habla. Usted habla. If the subject is he or she, él o ella, we add a also. Él habla, ella habla. If the subject is we, nosotros, nosotras, nosotros if it's masculine, nosotras, the feminine, we add amos. Nosotros hablamos. Nosotros hablamos. Or nosotras hablamos. So the verb doesn't change if it's masculine or feminine, but the subject does. Nosotros or nosotras. For you all, you plural, the same as with the singular form, we have the informal one, which could be vosotros, vosotras, again, vosotros masculine, vosotras feminine, vosotros, vosotras, vosotros habláis. We have a with an accent, I-S. Vosotros habláis, or vosotras habláis. Then the formal version, and this is the version that they use in Latin America also. So in Spain we only use this version in formal language, but in Latin American they use it both for formal and informal. And it's ustedes, ustedes, and we add a-n. Ustedes hablan. Ustedes hablan. You all speak. And then they, the third person of the plural. In Spanish would be ellos, or if it's feminine, ellas. Ellos, ellas. And we add en. Ellos hablan. Ellas hablan in feminine. Yo necesito, tú necesitas. Yeah, Rusty, that's correct. Yo necesito, tú necesitas, él, ella necesita. It's a good one. So now we are gonna move to the second type of verbs, the verbs that end in er, er. And we have the example we are using is the verb comer, comer, to eat. So as we said, like we first take out the er, and we are left with the stem of the verb, which is com, C-O-M, and then depending on the subject, as before, like we have to add a different ending. So, like first person singular, I eat, would be yo como. Yo como, adding an O. For the second person of the singular, if it's informal, tú comes. Tú comes, adding an ES at the end. For the formal version of the second person of singular, usted, usted come. Usted come, ending in an E. The third person, he or she, él, ella, come. Él come, ella come. He eats, she eats. We add an E. Now for the plural forms, we eat, would be in Spanish. Nosotros, nosotras, nosotros comemos, nosotras comemos. Again, masculine and feminine. Adding emos, E-M-O-S. Then for the second person of the plural, for the informal form in Spanish, vosotros or vosotras, vosotros coméis. Vosotras coméis. We add E with an accent, I-S, eis. You all eat. And then for the formal way of saying it, as I said, in Latin America, ustedes is used both in formal and informal. Ustedes comen. Ustedes comen. We add E-N, N. And the third person of the plural, they, ellos or ellas, feminine, ellos comen, ellas comen. We add E-N at the end. So, and now we're getting to the last one, the verbs ending in I, R, ir. The example that we are using is vivir, vivir, live. So, the same as with the other forms, we take out the ending, the I, R, ir, and we are left with viv. And then we need to add a different ending for each subject. So, for the first person of the singular, I, yo vivo. Yo vivo. So we add an O. For the informal second person of the singular, you live. Tú vives. Tú vives. We add ES, S. For the formal one, usted, usted vive. Usted vive. We add an E. Now for the third person of the singular, he or she, él, ella, él vive, ella vive. We add also an E. E. Then for the plural forms, we have we, nosotros or nosotras, feminine, nosotros vivimos, nosotras vivimos. So we add imos, I-M-O-S. Then, again, for you, for the informal version, vosotros or vosotras, we add I with an accent and S, is. Vosotros vivís, vosotras vivís. And then, as before, for the formal version in Spanish, but both formal and informal in Latin America, ustedes, we add en, en. Ustedes viven. Ustedes viven. And lastly, the third person of the plural, they, ellos or ellas, we add en, en. Ellos viven. Ellas viven. Yeah, Tyson is saying that it's difficult to remember like the correct word. That's true, but it's a matter of practice. Like at first, it's very difficult to remember all those things and to like say it correctly. Like because when you are speaking, it's kind of quick, right? But the more you use it, it will come to you naturally, and you won't even have to think about that. So yeah, it's a matter of practice. Like it seems like a lot, and but it's okay. Like even if you make a mistake, just saying the subject right, like the other person can understand you. So don't be scared like to say it wrong. Like we know that it's very difficult, so we are not gonna be picky about it or judge anyone. Like just say it like however you think it is. Like if it's wrong, don't worry. Like you'll get better at it. Yeah, keep working on it. It's a matter of practice, really. So now we saw how to conjugate the regular verbs, we are gonna start with the irregular ones, the scary ones. But yeah, don't worry. So what are irregular verbs? As I said before, these are the verbs that do not follow patterns. So yeah, we don't have those like tables as before, like you just need to add like the same ending to the stem. These ones have to be memorized. So I know it's difficult, but yeah, little by little, with practice, you get used to that. It will come naturally to you. So don't worry, don't be afraid of making mistakes or anything. It's okay, like perfectly understandable to make mistakes with this. So there are some common irregular verbs, like we are gonna see now the verb to go, ir, the verb to go, but there are other like common ones, like for example the verb to be, which in Spanish is both ser and estar. The verb to have, haber. The verb to do, hacer. The verb to know, saber. The verb to see, ver. So yeah, you can see that they are verbs that we use a lot. So yeah, it might be a bit challenging at the beginning because you have all these verbs that you want to use because they are very common and they are irregular. So it might be a bit shocking at the beginning, but as I said, it's a matter of practice, and yeah, that's it. So we are gonna see one of the examples, the verb ir, to go. So yeah, as you see, we don't have the endings table here on the side, like you just have to memorize the form. So for the first person singular, I go, yo voy, yo voy. You go, tú vas, tú vas. So you go, the formal version, usted va, usted va. He, she goes, él va, ella va. Now for the plural forms, we have we go, nosotros vamos, nosotras vamos. Masculine and feminine version. So then for the second person of the plural, again, the informal way in Spanish. You'll go, vosotros vais, vosotras vais. In formal, in Spain, and both formal and informal in Latin America, you'll go is, ustedes van, ustedes van. And lastly, the third person of the plural, they go, ellos van, ellas van. So you see that they change a little bit. It's, you cannot do anything about that. Just memorize it, but yeah, that's how they work. And now let's practice some of what we learned today. So feel free to leave a comment below. We'll see if you really learned this week's lesson. So we are gonna practice with the verb to learn, aprender, aprender. So first we see that they end in E, that it ends in ER, er. So what we do first, like we said, we take out the ER, right? Aprend. So, and we have here what we need to add to each person. So yeah, it's just a matter of joining those two, the stem and the endings. So we have I learn, adding an O, it could be. And then you learn, adding ES, and the formal one, adding E. So, did you get it right? It's yo aprendo, tú aprendes, usted aprende. Now for he, she learns, and we learn. Dun, 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 dun. What it is? Él aprende, ella aprende. And then for we, nosotros aprendemos, nosotras aprendemos. And then the last three forms, you all, both formal and informal, and they, how are they conjugated? Dun, 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 dun. Whoa, Chris, really, he already wrote all the forms. Great, amazing, thank you for joining and participating. So it's vosotros aprendéis, vosotras aprendéis, ustedes aprenden, and ellos aprenden, ellas aprenden. I don't know if we are gonna have time. I think we're not gonna have time to go over this verb, but yeah, it's another regular verb, so you need to do the same as before. I'll reveal here the answers if you want to see them later a little bit. Yo bebo, tú bebes, usted bebe, él bebe, ella bebe, nosotros bebemos, vosotros bebéis, ustedes beben, ellos beben. So it's another regular one. So, summarizing what we've learned in this lesson, we use the present simple to talk about something that is generally true at the moment, or it's something that happens at intervals, habits. Then we have three types of verbs depending on the ending of this verb. So verbs that end in ar, er, and ir. And then we have regular verbs that follow the same pattern to conjugate them, and we have irregular verbs that are a bit special and you just have to memorize them, unfortunately. To conjugate the regular verbs, as we saw, we have to identify the stem of the verb by taking out ar, er, or ir, and then we add the stem, the right ending, depending on the subject of the sentence. And that's it. Before leaving, I want you to remember that you can have access to a lot of cheat sheets with vocabulary and useful phrases for free, and also you can download our app that you can take anywhere you want with you, and have a lot of video and audio lessons to keep learning. So yeah, I really recommend you to click the link below and keep practicing. So not only coming for this lesson once a week, but practicing your Spanish every day, and I'm sure it will get better very soon, very quickly. And hope to see you next week. So next week we are gonna learn how to say thank you. So I hope that you're looking forward to that, and I hope to see you there next week. So yes, thank you very much, all of you, for joining in. And yeah, see you next week. Hasta luego.